Hello, my name is Liam and I'm here with another live setup iteration for you guys. And what makes this live setup different from all the other ones that I've featured on this channel? Well, first of all, it's fully digital. Most of the setups that I work with have at least some sort of hardware or standalone element to it. That being said, because of the MIDI controllers that I've chosen here, the PC-12 as well as the MX-12, this really gives like a hardware sort of feel to this entire digital setup. And these two are from the same company, Faderfox. It's very obvious that they're meant to complement each other. All of the knobs, faders, and buttons here are controlled via MIDI, and to add even more MIDI power to the setup, I have the Oxi Instruments Oxi One, which I'm using to sequence soft synths on these two channels here. I've gone full MIDI power on this one, launching clips through Ableton while being able to create on-the-spot melodies with the Oxi One. So what is my goal with this setup? I do like vibey performance clips like this one. Everything that you just heard from that performance is happening live. The goal with all this is to capture that performance live in as much detail as possible, from clips, patterns, and melodies that I'm sequencing per channel to the effects that I'm performing over top of those clips as well. Why did I end up landing on Faderfox controllers for this setup? With the PC-12, you have the perfect amount of knobs in the perfect amount of space, and the MX-12 is just kind of an extension of that. So here, let's actually just play this track. I've got 12 faders in total with the MX-12, as well as 2 knobs per channel, right? So this is obviously volume control for each channel. And just a general feel, like there's some other great MIDI controllers out there for sure, but there's something about the sturdiness of this that makes it a little bit more performable. So let's say, for example, I'll put a ton of like a dubby sort of delay onto this, and I could play with the feedback. Right, so I like to kind of tap my knobs like that. Instead of doing this, I'm very physical and rhythmic, and I'm able to do that without the MIDI controller just like sliding away, which is a problem with many other MIDI controllers that I've worked with. And of course, the MX-12 is the exact same size and weight, so it works kind of the same as well. And by the way, if at any point I sort of gas you up about anything here in this video, consider using the affiliate links in the description of this video. That would be a huge support to this channel. And of course, thank you to anyone who's used my affiliate links in past videos. Okay, so let's switch out the kick as well as the bass to kind of just change things up. And let's dive a little bit deeper into how I'm mapping things with the PC-12. As I'm sure you're already acutely aware, PC-12 as in 12 channels, or at least 12 columns of knobs. So 72 knobs in total, which is a lot. At the same time, if you're sort of organized with how you use them, it's actually not a lot, and I'm using every single one of them. So everything is vertically here. Think of each fader is a different channel, and then the channel goes all the way up to here. These are all controlling different controls, effects controls on that channel. So I've soloed just the drums here so we can see how these effects react to those drums. So again, this is on the 3rd channel, the hi-hats. The first one here, this is a delay, dotted eighths. This one here is the same thing, but in triplet form. What if we did that? Kind of gives like a tribal feel on this conga. The 3rd one here is another delay. It's also dotted eighths. It's a little bit more of a dub style delay. It's got a nice feel to it. The 4th one is another dub style delay. So I have lots of delays going on here, but it just has a bit of a different flavor. Very dubby, almost like a reggae thing. This one down here, this is a super plate reverb. And then the last one down here, this is another reverb, but you could sort of control it to make it sound a little different. Almost like a delay, like a slappy kind of delay. In my Ableton live session, I actually only have 8 tracks, so that accounts for these. But what about these 4? These are actually controlling parameters for the effects that I have here. So let's go back to this effects here, the top one, which is, it's a delay, which also has an interesting modulation happening right here. Which I have control over. This is feedback for all of the effects. This is feedback for every single one of them. And then I have a high pass and a low pass for every single one of them as well. So I have a lot of control over these effects. The next perfect addition is these two knobs per channel, which you could use as effect sends if you want. I've actually used them as filters. So this is a high pass, and this is a low pass, which gives me a lot more control over my mix. I like to, drop out the kick sometimes instead of pulling it down completely, maybe just, get a little bit of that frequency of the kick. And maybe come back with a completely different bass line. I always like to make comparisons with past iterations. I've been using the SSL Big 6 for well over a year now. If you're familiar with that mixer, or many other mixers too have this same sort of setup, the Big 6 also has faders as well as 2 effect sends per channel. That is literally the function of the MX-12 in the setup, but obviously in a much smaller space. Of course, the Big 6 is an analog hardware mixer as well as audio interface, so it's in a different category of its own. It's got EQ on it as well, so it has to be bigger. But in a live setting, the advantage of using the MX-12 over the Big 6 is that the first 4 channels on the Big 6 are actually mono, whereas these are all stereo. So that's a nice addition. Another big thing about the Big 6 that I felt I was missing is not having a high pass and low pass filter, which of course, as I just showed you before, we do have here, assigned through Ableton Live. So there's some really clear advantages of using this in a live setup, not to mention that of course it takes up way less desk space, it's much more portable. It's just a really simple yet well-built controller, so there's a lot less parts that could break on it. I personally love the flexibility of using Ableton, just launching clips. I love that kind of workflow, but that of course comes with a limitation. No matter how great your loops are, you can't control or create anything from scratch. Or maybe create melodies on the fly if you want. And cue the Oxi One. Which is sequencing sounds from Arturia's Prophet-5V. The Oxi One actually has many different types of sequencers within it. I'm using the matricial sequencer, which is my go-to for this sort of like live, kind of more upbeat approach. And here's some more information on matricial sequencer, by the way. So let me just solo one of these in case you're not familiar. This one here. And let's actually change the synth sound. So I have this synth sound, let's say. And if I want to, I could just throw some triggers in here. I have a bunch of other parameters going on here as well. So if I change even just like the length of the note parameter, this will change the melody. I'll take all of this gate information off so it's just solid notes. Maybe change up the sound again. Maybe throw a different sample or loop on top of this, different clip. Now we're back to clip land. Right, so if you have like the right clips that fit, you could definitely make a performance with that. But again, it's nice to be able to create something like this on the fly. It's really easy to get lost in this. It's super inspiring. On the subject of the Prophet-5V, all of the presets, synth sounds that you're hearing here are from my Prophet-5V preset pack, which is available on my platform, Orbit Music. Here's a link to that. And also, if you like a tester version of this preset pack, you can check that out on my Patreon. That's all linked in the description of this video. Of course, the most important part of this setup is Ableton, right? So let's talk about that. Ableton is the thing that makes this setup a production and live performance tool in terms of being able to actually record everything onto individual channels. So that being post-fader audio coming from clips, all recorded into Ableton's arrangement view. With the template that I'm using, every single maneuver or movement that I do here gets recorded into a return track. You're not gonna be able to see this super well here, but I have a group clip, return, record, as well as effects record. And so this here is where every single aspect of the performance is being captured. Another thing to mention if you're going to tackle this sort of setup is CPU usage. As a recap, recording 8 tracks, effects on each of those 8 tracks, effects parameters as well, high pass and low pass on each track, as well as a lot more sophisticated live melody creation through the Oxi One. There's just a lot going on there, so you need a strong computer. I'm currently running the M4, which has 32 RAM, and even still, there's certain effects, like in particular with Sound Toys effects, if I try to map certain parameters to these knobs here and I play with them, the session will get a little clicky and the audio will kind of fall out. So try to keep your sessions as lean as possible, and that's actually a reason to incorporate hardware gear into your setup, right? To sort of take weight off of your Ableton session. I had a 16 RAM computer before, and I attempted this setup with that computer. It did not work. This M4 I'm using specifically as an instrument. I do not use it for anything else. It's just for Ableton sessions. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Make sure to do your research before committing to a setup like this.
And now, a word from today's sponsor, DistroKid.
If you're watching this video, chances are that you'd like to officially release your music to all major streaming platforms. So first off, why choose DistroKid? They are hands down the most affordable music distribution platform in the game. We're talking like just over 20 bucks a year affordable to release unlimited music. And by the way, on top of that, I also have a discount for you linked in the description of this video. You collect 100% of your streaming royalties with DistroKid, another huge plus, and they're designed specifically for independent artists and producers. How, you may ask? Well, here's a list of tools that they offer that will help you with at least some of the heavy lifting when it comes to promoting your own music independently. For example, there's Hyperfollow, which is a free landing page that I've personally been using for years now across all of my social media. It's similar to a Linktree type of situation where you can lead people to specific pages or maybe different social medias. You can post video content, maybe a link to your latest single, and you can create an unlimited amount of landing pages at no extra cost. DistroKid also offers promo cards, another free tool that you could use to promote your music on social media. So many other features, and again, just over $20 a year. To me, it's a no-brainer if you're looking for a music distributor. Well, now you know where to go. Sign up using the discount linked in the description of this video.